contrast, this is a beautiful example. If you look at this, right, the yellow and that black highlight underneath the text. Likewise, by lowering the contrast, you can make an element fade into the background. This poster by Melanie Scott Vincent uses a yellow paperclip on a yellow background, creating a low contrast difference between the object and backdrop. While this is usually a thing to avoid, in this case it reinforces the event name ignored every day. It would be too easy to say that I feel invisible. Instead, I feel painfully visible and entirely ignored. And I think this poster really convey this message really well. Rule number 7, repeat elements of your design. Repetition. It does really work well. Now this example is, I think, beautiful. It helps that is a magazine, is a multi-page design. So it's easier to repeat when you have multi-pages. In fact, it's really helpful because it ties the whole design together. You can see that these pages truly seems to belong to the same magazine because of that repetition of that element, that diagonal element that just changes color. Same here, repeat after me. Repetition makes for successful compositions. I truly believe that repetition is quite important. Repeat after me, repetition makes for successful composition. And I'm showing here some paintings, design, photography. I'm kind of giving you as many examples as I can. To maintain consistency and logical layout, take specific elements from one section of your design and apply it to the other section. You can see that, right? This element is repeated, this element is repeated, and this is really a nice, successful design because of those repetitions especially. Repetition is also a key factor when it comes to designing single-page composition. I talked about how it's much easier to use repetition when you have multiple pages, but it is really as important in a single page. By repeating graphic elements, your design stays strong and cohesive, just like in this event poster by Jessica Hirsch. This poster repeats certain type, stylization, graphic, and line weights throughout to maintain a cohesive and effective design. The font palette and color palette and the graphic styles are simple and alike. If it were to suddenly use a thick, bold, pink line-based graphic somewhere in the middle, the cohesion would be lost. Very true. She's using really kind of a very similar, not just color palette, type. There's nothing that is kind of an eyesore or stands out in the wrong way. And the next beautiful rule, one of my favorite, is don't forget white space for next class.